A very good evening to all of you. In this session, we would understand whether my preparation for UPSC is too late. Now, a lot of students come and ask about I have started my preparation when I have entered bachelor's, I have completed master's. Is it too late? Is it too early? What is the right time? So, actually, the discussion topic is what is the right time to start your preparation for UPSC. Now, the early you start, the better it is. But even if you start with your masters or after your masters, you are not late. The technical idea is the whole process of UPSC takes nearly 1 year. So prior to that, if you have been involved with 6 months or more, then you are not late for your preparation. However, there are certain key factors that you must understand. What are those key factors? What has been your orientation? Specifically those which have good orientation for social studies in their school age perform really good. They are able to cope up with the less duration of time they get even if they start late. Also, another important orientation is your writing skill. How well, how conversant you are in writing. Now, writing is not only writing answers for your school examinations or board examinations. Answer writing for UPSC is a little different. Here, we need to understand the applicative aspect. We need to focus on not just the conceptual aspects but the applicative aspect. Why certain policy which has been brought is important, what can be the implications of it which could be seen in near future. So all those questions become important to understand here. Now let me have some questions before I proceed further. There is a question from Kishan asking about I am in class 10th, what can I do? And there is another question from Kotrapa asking for which newspapers we have to read. Both of them are very excellent questions. So let me address the first question here. Kishan, if you are in class 10th, the most important thing that you need to focus is at this point of time social studies and science for your school grade itself. Don't think about a lot at this point, but what you can cover is 6 to 10th. Complete social studies and science should be done thoroughly. There should be no stone unturned at this point. The next important thing is follow a good newspaper regularly. So here I have the question of Kotrapa that I can answer, that when we are going for newspaper, which newspaper? There are limitations in the area you are residing, in the city, in the size of the city that you are residing, but despite of that you would find a newspaper. If you are appearing for English medium, if you are opting for English as medium of examination, definitely go for only newspaper in English. Or if you are going for a regional language, you can go for that regional newspaper. But if you are going for English newspaper, the most and the best newspaper I would recommend is the Hindu. If by chance in the city you are residing you do not get the editions of the Hindu, you can also go for online subscription, or you can go for Indian Express or Times of India. Two of the alternative choices if the Hindu is not available. So those are some of the good newspapers that you have to refer. There is a next question from Always Shiva. How to complete the yearly current affairs? Now, yearly current affairs is a huge task. What you need to understand here is when you are completing current affairs, you must be thorough with PIB, the 12 Yojana, Kurukshetra, and the 24 editions of Down to Earth. So that is something which is to be covered on the very basic requirement. Besides this, try to cover Vikaspedia. Now a lot of students say we are going through the compendium of current affairs available through various portals or various platforms. I would definitely recommend that if you are going through that, just stick to one of those, not many of those, because more or less it is repetition. There are lots of unnecessary stuff that is also included which is not useful for your UPSC examination. So be selective in deciding what reference you want to take, and whatever reference you are taking, just stick to that reference. Don't go for a lot of current affairs, okay? There is another question. This year I will write the prelims, so how can I complete my current affairs? So if you are going for this year's prelims, I would recommend down to earth, very important. Cover all science and tech topics. Science Reporter is a good reference that you can do. Refer the glossary and the key terms from Investopedia. Vikaspedia is another good reference that you must cover. uh, Vimal wants to have a consultation. Definitely, Vimal, you can just drop a request on WhatsApp number 999 800 8851, and one of the team members would actually schedule you for the one-on-one appointment which we have every Saturdays. So you would get the appointment, and based on that we can have a one-on-one discussion. So any of you besides Vimal, if you are looking for one-on-one discussion, definitely you are more than welcome. There is another question from Solanki Vishal asking about 13 months are enough for first attempt. Definitely 13 months are more than enough if you have been with your studies regularly, if you have a good background. The thing is, I cannot absolutely say it is enough or not. It depends on how you have been, what is your level at present. So if you have been consistent with your studies through your school days, if you know the very fundamentals, very basics clearly, then definitely 13 months are more than enough. There is another question from Emily. Social science is very hard for me, what should I do to understand it better? Awesome question, Emily. I believe this is a topic that we would cover for our next live session on Saturday, but just to give you a glimpse here, social studies is actually not hard. It's your perspective, how you look onto the thing. For example, if a child says that history is very hard, probably if you are also afraid of history, you would tell your son or child or your sibling that yes, it is a very difficult subject, and then it becomes a perception that this is difficult, stay away from it. But if on the other hand you do a positive reinforcement, you encourage the child to explore more about what things had happened in the past, look out for some monuments, go to a historical place and have a visit, probably that could create a little interest. And the same goes with any other subjects in social studies. So it's not something that does not interest you or not, it is something which is around you always. So you are a part of the society, you are a social being, so definitely this is something which we are part of, and when we are part of it, there is no question of interest or disinterest. For example, your family members, your brothers, sisters, your parents, those cannot be changed. You cannot say that I like my parents or I don't like my parents. That's what you have. That's the thing that you need to understand. And the similar thing is with social studies. We have this society and that's what we are part of. So understanding that is a good way to develop curiosity about it, to develop interest about it, rather than being aloof from it and living a life which does not involve the elements of the society around us. I hope my point comes clear. Bindu has a question. What topics we should read in newspaper? Bindu, very good question. Newspaper cover the editorials that would help you in your answer writing. Besides that, don't go for the local edition or the regional section in the newspaper. Focus more on science and technology news. Also, try to focus more on environmental issues. Excellent topics are covered in the Hindu for environment. And then also focus on economic problems, economic concerns, economic issues. Prachi has a question about science. Yes, Prachi, we have already covered NCERT 6th, 7th and 8th, 9th, 10th. A lot of topics are covered. The remaining are in development and would be covered as soon as possible. Kotrapa has a question in the Hindu newspaper, which is very important to read. Kotrapa, I believe Bindu had the same question and I have already answered it. The sources I already mentioned, Vishwa, sorry, and that is about the Vikaspedia, Investopedia, PIB, Yojana, Kurukshetra, Down to Earth, as I have mentioned. Sagar has a question about how to plan to cover all the syllabus. Now, Sagar, this depends on your expertise. I cannot lay down one common plan, and that's why I usually recommend to students that don't go by the plans which is being devised by someone. However, I myself has taken one of the lectures where I have discussed about the plan for UPSC. But the thing is, I personally don't recommend a common plan that suits all. So the thing is how good you are at which subject. Based on that, your time allocation would vary. If you are excellent at history, probably you would require less time with history and more focus on your weak area. So rather than having a generalized plan for everyone, it is much more individualized or much more detailed. Okay, so that is very very important here. Now then we need to understand that what is very very important here is focusing on the very very different concepts. And here we also have another question, how to read geography. I'm facing lot of problem. Okay, and there is a question, in 100 days how to revise my syllabus. I don't have notes, can I write now and revise, is it possible? This is my last attempt. Okay, so let me address both the questions here one by one. Coming on to the question geography and the problems related to geography. Now geography, I would recommend that you start with NCERT. Cover your GC Leong. Both NCERTs and GC Leong we have covered in totality on our channel. So that's the very fundamental thing. You can do it without any other things that are around, without deviating from here to there. That's more than enough that you can do as a beginner. Now, once you are done with that, if you have any questions or any problems, you can definitely post those in the comment or have a consultation, get those resolved. But the most important thing I would recommend here is make Atlas your friend. So whenever you are free, just go through the key places, the key things which have been in news. For example, Ukraine, two nations being built out of Ukraine recently is in news. So just go to the geography of Ukraine, see where Black Sea is located, Azov Sea is located, what are the proximity nations which are there, which is the major river flowing through it, what are the major bifurcations that have been witnessed. So those are some of the ways you can actually enhance your interest as well as your expertise. And geography of Afghanistan, geography of Ukraine becomes exceptionally important topics for your prelims this year. Make sure that you cover those in detail. Geography of Afghanistan, we have already covered a detailed lecture. Geography of Ukraine, we would be coming with a lecture very soon. There is another question from Sudha. If it is your last attempt, I won't recommend that at this point with just 100 days left, you start preparing notes, because notes would take a lot of time, unnecessarily lot of time, and that would reduce the amount of study that you can do. So at this point, what is very important is you read a lot, and since prelims is extensive, try to go through various sources. Depth of the various sources are important, and find out the areas where you don't do good. Focus on those areas, prepare those areas in detail. Okay, so that is exceptionally important. Then there is another question which we need to understand is, what is the best way to clear prelims, and another question, how to select optional. So Manjunath, the question regarding how to select optional, we have covered a video which is deciding optional for UPSC, and I believe that video itself is more than sufficient to answer your question. There is another question, what is the best way to clear prelims? The best way to clear prelims is cover the topics extensively. A lot of information should be in your mind before you appear for UPSC prelims. Okay, Neeta has a question for NET examination. Neeta, we have the complete course for NET which is available on Doorstep Tutor. You can refer that. Dhanushri has a question about how to improve the social skills. Dhanushri, are you asking about interaction skills, interview skills? Then definitely we would cover a separate section for it. Which topics to concentrate for UPSC? Environment, science, tech, economics are extremely important. History, polity, based on the traditional concepts you can cover. Then questions like topics like CAA are important with regards to polity. Then Neeta has a question about the workshop. So the details have been posted in the community. Okay, thanks a lot, Emmy, for just putting up here. There is another question: how to cover environment. So, Sudha, we have already covered one of the playlists on environment. Just go on to that playlist. We regularly update new topics and add new stuff onto that playlist. Extremely important. All the topics have been covered here. A lot of students follow the conventional content for environment, but for environment, I would recommend it's more of contemporary questions which are asked. So also on Examrace current affairs section, you can have a specific targeted section where we are exclusively covering the environment. So you can just go to Examrace current affairs and search by topics. You can search environment as the topic and get all the latest coverage that we have done there. There is another question: tips for CSAT. So for CSAT, that's paper 2, we have covered a complete we have created a complete video lecture series as well, specifically focusing on reading comprehension questions, the inference, how to draw the inference, where is assumption, what to take into account for the assumptions. So all those are covered in our video series. The link for the same has been pinned above, so you can just go and check out the video lectures. Those are pre-recorded lectures, so all our courses for UPSC are available as pre-recorded courses. You can just select the course and enroll for the course, and all the new videos which would be added would be available to you. That's on the monthly basis. Okay, Salman has a question about workshop on world map. Salman, that's really a good suggestion. Definitely I'll take into account that one of our live lectures is focusing on world map. So Salman, just to be elaborate, if you could mention few of the students have questions regarding world map and India map, how to draw those for your UPSC mains, or understanding the world map for your prelims perspective. Just put that down in the comment section and we'll be happy to cover those in one of the live sessions. There is another question for current affairs: newspaper and magazines are not sufficient. No, I won't say any one new magazine would help you completely, because if that was the scenario, there would have been no other sources that exist for UPSC. But UPSC has proved itself to be highly dynamic in nature. As a result, every time the type of question, the nature of questions are very different from what have been asked in the past years, and therefore you have to be very keen in identifying what resources you are referring. Dhanushri, if you are in 6th, you definitely have to start with your social sciences at this point. Then you can cover your sciences when you are in 7th and 8th, and that would help you to develop good foundation for your UPSC preparation. Definitely, Ashwath, we would also make a video on India map. For those who are starting your preparation from 11th or 6th or school grade, I recommend that you go with newspaper reading on a regular basis. That would not only have a good foundation for general studies, but would also improve your reading and writing skills, which is extremely essential for your mains. Sudha, there is a question: how to download the video material. There is no option to download the video material. It's available on our portal itself. You can simply create an account and watch the videos. You have 1 month validity and 3 views for every month. You can increase the number of months as to your requirement. So if you are looking for a 3 month, 4 month, you can by the time you are subscribing, you can just add on the number of months, and your number of views would significantly increase there. Okay, because most of the content is updated regularly. We have new content coming on a regular basis, so we don't provide a kind of static module where you just have it once and that's done. There are regular updates which are done, even for the study material, even for the questions, notes and everything. So that was the discussion for today. I hope you had enjoyed the session, and still, if you are looking for one-on-one consultation, feel free to connect to our number through WhatsApp or email us at admin@examrace.com. Our number is 999-800-8851, and we can definitely have a one-on-one consultation which is totally free of charge for students. So That is one option. And definitely then also, if you are having specific topics in mind, as a lot of you have pointed today, a video on world map, India map, video on if you are not interested in social sciences, what are the ways you can handle that, videos on schemes. So definitely we would be covering those in our next live sessions. Stay tuned. Wish you a very warm evening. Thank you.